Hello everyone. In this tutorial, you will learn how to sequence an imported BIM model and map its elements to various milestones, showing how the project is built over time. In cmBuilder, most objects, such as resources, imported model parts, annotations, and drawings, are connected to milestones. These milestones represent the essential steps of a construction sequence. Refer to our previous tutorial videos covering how to create milestones to learn more. We will use the timeline function to connect the BIM elements to the site plan milestones by specifying the first and final milestones where the model elements will be visible. Let's get started. Once you've successfully imported your BIM model into your site plan, create a milestone for each construction stage you want to illustrate, such as site mobilization, for example. Remember that you can create the milestones manually or by importing an existing schedule and, in most cases, the dates should represent the completion date. So, for example, the date when pour level 2 columns is finished. In our example, we've sequenced the construction of the structure by level, but feel free to break it down into smaller steps based on your actual construction workflow. Note that the level of detail in your sequence will depend on how your model elements are separated, as each element will be individually connected to the timeline. Please refer to our split model user guide if you'd like to break down your model elements into smaller pieces in cmBuilder for a more detailed sequence. The core logic behind sequence creation involves selecting a group of parts and assigning a connection to the timeline. So let's begin by understanding the different timeline connections at your disposal. Simply right-click on a part or group of parts within your imported BIM model and select Edit BIM Element. You can also double-click on an object to access their properties. The side panel will display the timeline controls. By default, all imported parts will be set from the beginning to the end of your project's timeline. In other words, all imported parts will be visible throughout your project timeline, unless specified otherwise. The From Timeline field determines the first milestone in which the selected objects will first appear. Use this to define the moment a part is constructed. The To Timeline field will define last milestone where the selected objects remain visible in your timeline. These parts will become hidden after this date. Use this to define the moment a part is demolished or removed. Check the Hide from All Milestones box if you'd like a certain part to be hidden by default and only be used as a reference. Use this to remove parts from the sequence timeline, but keep them loaded in the scenario. Now, let's explore the various selection methods available in cmBuilder. You can select parts using the 3D space or the model tree. Let's start by the 3D space. As best practice, we suggest working on a clean view to make the part selection more seamless. In the model tree, select the model you want to sequence, then right-click, Temporary Hide Everything Else. This isolates the selected model in the view, making it much easier to sequence it. You can also hide the project map, which is located under Map and Earthwork, to completely isolate your BIM model. Hold the Control key and click on different parts of your model to add them to the active selection. Hold Control while dragging your mouse to use Lasso Selection. This will include any elements inside or touching the box. A quick side note. The Lasso Selection has a built-in filter and will select one of the following element types at a time: imported BIM elements, resources, massings, or surrounding buildings. The filter is set by the first object you select. To select only resources, pick a resource first, then use the lasso. Note that the BIM model won't be included. Coming back to the sequencing, you can add more elements to the active selection by combining Control-click and Lasso Selection. Remove items from your active selection by Control-clicking a highlighted part, or holding Control and Shift to create a lasso deselection. Next, you can also select parts using the tree structure and leverage the predefined grouping for the imported elements. Elements that are selected but hidden in the active milestone will be highlighted in orange. Use the right-click menu to the temporary Show or Hide object, and click the red cross button to revert states for the whole model or only the selected parts. The tree can be grouped in several ways: by BIM structure of level and classes, by the assigned start milestones, using the original file hierarchy, or by selection sets. You can also filter the tree using the search field, so only parts that match the search criteria will be shown in the list. This way, you can select multiple elements quickly, for example, all the columns within the model. Once an active selection is created, right-click the selected parts and click on Edit BIM Element. to open the Properties panel and connect the parts to the timeline. Timeline connections can also be defined by right-clicking and selecting Begin from this milestone or End at this milestone for your selected parts. For efficiency, you can use the keyboard shortcuts Ctrl-B or Ctrl-E. Lastly, let's look at how to use the Sequence Helper. Start by clicking on the Sequence Helper shortcut on the bottom right corner of your screen. You will notice that all parts of your model will be color-coded in accordance with the Sequence Helper legend. These colors represent when the model parts will appear in relation to the active milestone. Blue highlighted parts are assigned to a milestone before the active milestone. Green refers to parts assigned to the active milestone. Yellow indicates parts assigned to a future milestone. Red indicates parts yet to be assigned to any milestone, and gray represents the parts disconnected from the timeline. Click on any of the colors in the legend to temporarily deactivate the respective parts in the 3D view. To further refine your view, you can hide wireframe parts by disabling the Show Edges toggle in the Graphics tab under the Settings menu. Click on the Sequence Helper icon to revert the view to the original colors. That wraps up our tutorial on sequencing BIM model elements by mapping them to milestones. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next tutorial video.